Have you ever wondered why negative emotions, such as anger, sadness, or fear, seem to dominate our lives at times? Well, it's time we take a closer look at these powerful forces. Negative emotions, you see, are not just random occurrences, they serve a purpose. They are signals, alerts in our system warning us that something is not quite right. Imagine walking through a dark, dense forest and suddenly you feel a surge of fear. This fear is not your enemy. It's a survival mechanism. It's your body's way of saying, hey, be alert, something might not be safe here. This is the power of negative emotions. They are a part of our evolutionary toolkit, designed to keep us safe and alert in a world full of threats. But of course, we no longer live in the wild. We live in a complex society with its own set of challenges and stressors. And sometimes these negative emotions can feel overwhelming. They can seem to take over, clouding our judgment and dictating our actions. This is when they become problematic, when they start controlling us, rather than us controlling them. However, it's crucial to remember that these emotions, as uncomfortable as they may be, are not inherently bad. They are simply a part of the human experience. They are a part of who we are. And understanding them is the first step in learning to manage them. So, why do we experience negative emotions? Why do they seem to hold such power? It's because they are tied to our survival, our instinctual response to threats. They are deeply ingrained in our DNA. And while they can be difficult to handle at times, they also provide us with valuable insights into our needs, our values, and our boundaries. So, negative emotions are indeed powerful. But remember, they don't have to control you. It's all about understanding their purpose, acknowledging their presence, and learning how to navigate them effectively, and that's what we're going to delve into in the coming scenes. Stay tuned. Now, to give you a better understanding, I want to share some of my own experiences with negative emotions. There was a time in my life when I felt like I was sinking into a bottomless pit of despair. Every morning was a struggle to get out of bed, and every night was filled with restless thoughts. I was going through a rough patch, dealing with the end of a long-term relationship, and I felt lost without that person in my life. The sadness was constant, like a heavy cloud that refused to lift. Then there was the time when I was working in a high-pressure job. The stress was relentless. It was like a monster, always lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce at any moment. The fear of not meeting expectations, the anxiety of making a mistake, it was all too consuming. I was always on edge, always worrying, always doubting myself. I've also grappled with feelings of anger and frustration. Once, a close friend betrayed my trust. The anger that bubbled up inside me was so intense it was almost palpable. I felt like I was on fire, burning from the inside out. The frustration stemmed from the fact that I couldn't change what had happened, and I didn't know how to let go of the anger. These experiences with negative emotions were hard, but they were also eye-opening. They made me realize that it's okay to feel sad, stressed, or angry. These emotions are a natural part of life. They're not pleasant, but they're not something to be ashamed of either. What's crucial is how we respond to these feelings. Do we let them control us, or do we find ways to cope and move forward? Do we bottle them up, or do we express them in a healthy way? These are the questions that matter. And remember, it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's from a trusted friend, a family member, or a mental health professional, seeking support can make a world of difference. As you can see, dealing with negative emotions is a universal experience, but the way we handle them can make all the difference. You might ask, what's the big deal? Why should we care about these negative emotions? Well, let's dive into the heart of the matter. Negative emotions, like a storm cloud over our heads, can heavily impact various aspects of our lives. Firstly, let's talk about our mental and physical health. You see, negative emotions act like invisible chains, binding us to stress, anxiety, depression, and a multitude of other mental health issues. They can cloud our minds, making it harder for us to think clearly, make decisions, and even sleep well. And it's not just our minds that are affected. Our bodies respond to the way we feel. Constant stress and anxiety can lead to physical symptoms like headaches, upset stomach, high blood pressure, chest pain, and sleep problems. Moving on, let's consider our relationships. Have you ever noticed how your mood can affect those around you? Negative emotions can create a ripple effect, influencing our interactions and relationships with others. They can make us impatient, judgmental, and even hostile, pushing away the very people who could help us navigate through these rough waters. Now let's think about the overall quality of our lives. When we're constantly swamped by negative emotions, it's like we're looking at life through a foggy lens. The vibrancy of life dims, and we may find ourselves losing interest in things we once enjoyed. We may struggle to find motivation to achieve our goals or to make positive changes in our lives. What's more, these negative emotions can trap us in a vicious cycle. The more we feel them, the stronger they become, making it even harder to break free. It's like being caught in a whirlpool, being pulled deeper and deeper into the murky depths. Clearly, negative emotions can have a profound impact on our lives, but we do have the power to manage them. It's not about avoiding or suppressing these emotions, but about learning to navigate through them. Because in the end, it's not the emotions themselves that cause the damage, but how we respond to them. So, how can we manage these negative emotions? I've learned a few strategies over the years that I'd like to share with you. Firstly, the practice of mindfulness. This is a kind of mental state achieved by focusing your awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting your feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. It's about being present, not dwelling on the past, or worrying about the future. When negative emotions arise, instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to breathe and observe the emotion. Acknowledge it, but don't let it consume you. This can help you gain a better understanding of your feelings, and can often lead to a calmer, more rational response. Next, self-reflection is key. This involves taking a step back and examining your thoughts and feelings in a non-judgmental way. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What triggered these feelings? How can I handle this situation differently in the future? By understanding the root of your emotions, you can learn how to manage them more effectively. Lastly, don't be afraid to seek professional help when necessary. Therapists, psychologists, and counselors are trained to help you navigate your emotions and can provide you with effective coping strategies. Remember, there's no shame in asking for help. In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-care. Throughout this journey, it's important to remember that it's okay to feel negative emotions. They're a natural part of life and can sometimes serve as valuable signals that something needs to change. The goal isn't to eliminate these emotions, but rather to manage them in a way that promotes growth and well-being. Remember, these strategies are tools to help you navigate through your emotions, not to eliminate them completely. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. It's an undeniable truth that emotions, both positive and negative, are an integral part of the human experience. They're like the colors on an artist's palette. Just as an artist uses a mixture of light and dark hues to create a beautiful masterpiece, our lives too are painted with a blend of both positive and negative emotions. Consider for a moment a life devoid of any negative emotions. It might seem like a blissful existence at first glance, but would it really be? Without the darkness, would we truly appreciate the light? Without sadness, would happiness hold the same value? Without fear, would we know the thrill of courage? Without anger, would we understand the need for peace? Negative emotions are not our enemies. They are signals, alerting us to something that needs our attention. They are opportunities for growth and self-discovery. They teach us empathy and compassion. They make us resilient. They make us human. Managing these emotions, however, does not mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging them, understanding them, and then using that understanding to navigate through them. It's about finding that delicate balance between allowing ourselves to feel these emotions and not letting them overwhelm us. So let's not shun our negative emotions. Let's not fear them or feel guilty for having them. Instead, let's embrace them. Let's listen to what they're trying to tell us. Let's use them as stepping stones to a better understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In the grand tapestry of life, every thread, every color, every emotion has its place, and every emotion, whether it brings us joy or pain, contributes to the intricate and beautiful pattern that is our life. So, embrace your emotions, all of them, because they make you who you are, and remember, it's okay not to be okay sometimes.